Every year, for about half a decade now, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has put out an annual report about the biggest threats to America itself. And usually, there's things like there's crime, there's gangs, there's all of these international threats to the United States. Those are typically number one, by the way. But according to a leaked copy of the forthcoming report that was given to journalist Ken Klippenstein, who I firmly believe is probably the best guy out there, this year, there's a new big threat to the United States. The thing that threatens our very stability as Americans is looking us in the mirror every single day. Because according to Kristi Noem's Department of Homeland Security, one of the biggest threats to America itself is Americans. And believe it or not, and this was actually kind of shocking, they don't say left-wing Americans are threatening all of us. It's not even right-wings who actually are threatening a lot of us. Nope, it's just in general, poor people. Potential class war. In fact, the document specifically says terrorism stemming from class-based or economic grievances. From the leaked report, class-based or economic grievances. Which, to be fair, is actually the first time that this administration has admitted that things are not going well economically. So it's always nice when they can finally tell us the truth about something, even if it's to tell us that you poor people, mad at the rich people, now threaten the very stability of the United States. Here's what Klippenstein said about that. The phrase could as much refer to an angry MAGA Midwesterner as it could any Mamdani-supporting urban dweller. But the focus is clear. The main threat to the homeland, DHS thinks, is the American people. Now, to be honest, that's probably not incorrect. There is an index, basically almost a mathematical equation. I had talked about it many, many years ago on Ring of Fire. Unfortunately, I forget the name of it and can no longer find it because of that. But basically, you had brilliant minds around the world come up with what they have is a formula to show when a country basically falls apart and is no longer a functioning country. And the lead cause of all of it, sometimes it's the beginning cause, sometimes it's the only cause, is inequality. When the rich get richer, when you have these oligarchs in their golden palaces and all these paupers and peasants scrounging for food on the outside of those walls, that breeds instability that eventually leads to uprising, that eventually leads to the overthrowing of the oligarchs and the leaders in power. So, historically speaking, these fears from the Department of Homeland Security are well-founded, because that is typically how societies fall. But they're also admitting we've created these conditions. The rest of the administration is not just ignoring the conditions, they're actively telling Americans that it's not real. No, you're not getting squeezed. You're making more money than ever, and you're paying less than ever for groceries, even though actually a new report came out this past week showing that grocery prices are in fact still rising month over month over month. While they lie to us, we still feel the effects, okay? This is not a lie that they can get away with, because this is one we all see and we all feel. We know that they're not telling the truth. So the question is, how much longer do people sit there and let the lies continue? Will the economic conditions get bad enough to basically make Department of Homeland Security's fear become a reality? they're already trying to stop it. These ICE raids, these armed soldiers patrolling our streets, none of this has to do with crime. It's a message to the average American citizen. Look what we have. We have soldiers. We have guns. We have other weapons of war at our disposal that we can actually deploy on U.S. streets. So you want to get rowdy, let's get rowdy. That is the point of all of this, from the ICE raids to the National Guards to the possible Army deployment in Minnesota. It's not because they're stomping out crime. It's because they're trying to prevent this potential uprising as the economic conditions continue to get worse. Have you, or someone you know, ever had your identity stolen, been a victim of fraud, or been hacked, scammed, doxxed? How does it make you feel that so much of your information is available for anyone to purchase? That's why I recommend today's sponsor, Aura, to my family and friends. Aura protects your privacy by identifying data brokers who are selling your information. Aura takes care of the hard part, automatically removing your information from these sites and, most importantly, keeping it off. There are a lot of services that offer this too, but none of them offer as many features as Aura and for the same price. Aura is all-in-one digital security. You may already have a digital security tool, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked, but then leaving the back door wide open. You get alerts if your personal information is found on the dark web. They provide real-time fraud alerts for both credit and banking. They have 24/7 monitoring to help keep your identity secure. They provide a secure VPN, antivirus, password manager, you name it. And they have US-based support available around the clock if something does go wrong. And if anything does happen, Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection. And they have US fraud experts that are ready to help you 24/7. It's one app that provides every layer of protection. I don't want to leave myself vulnerable online, and you shouldn't either. And that's why I personally use Aura. Try it for yourself. Go to aura.com/Farron to try 14 days for free. That's enough time for Aura to start scrubbing your personal information off these data broker sites without you having to lift a finger.